So after just talking about the C8 Corvette E-Ray, now we're getting information on the ZR1. This information is coming from Muscle Car and Trucks, who always happens to be a very reliable source for information, and they are claiming they have a quote bulletproof source for information on the C8 ZR1. Now there's photos that you can find on Corvette Blogger of another C8 test mule running around GM's Milford Proving Grounds. Now they say this is pretty significant for a couple different reasons. One, there is a large amount of camo on this car. Now this is almost back when the C8 was being first introduced and they're trying to cover up as much as possible. The E-Ray wasn't even covered up in the teaser trailer, except for a couple little things here and there. They weren't trying super hard to cover it up. This one, you can clearly see they're doing the best they can, which tells us all there's going to be significant changes to this particular model. Now, according to Muscle Car and Trucks, quote, bulletproof source, they're saying the ZR1 model is to show up somewhere between 2025 and 2026 model year. Now, those sources also go on saying in part of their article, the ZR1 is going to be sharing the same quad center exhaust as the Z06. The ZR1 will have a unique front and rear fascia details as well as exclusive wheel designs. In contrast, the equally wide-bodied 2024 Corvette E-Ray will have onboard quad exhaust tips as it shares the same LT2 engine with the Stingray. So they're saying the exhaust is significant for this reason. The E-Ray shares the same LT5 as the base Stingray, so it has the same exhaust layout. The Z06 and ZR1 are going to share the same quad center exhaust because they're going to share the same 5.5 flat plane crank V8. Now that center exhaust was very specifically tuned for that engine. But in the ZR1's configuration, Muscle Car and Truck sources are saying that it will be a twin turbo variant. And this twin turbo flat plane crank V8 will be known as the LT7. It will also have the same 8-speed Tremec DCT, and it will be sending power to the rear wheels only. Now they're saying the test mule for the ZR1 was caught driving on Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, which are the same standard all-season tires that the Z06 will come with. Now they're saying that as they understand, the base ZR1 will use the same tire setup as the Z06. Higher trim levels of the ZR1 will use Pilot Sport Cup 2R tires. Now they're the same tires that you're going to find on the Z06 with the Z07 track package. Now these same sources are also claiming that this twin turbo version of the 5.5 liter flat plane crank V8 is going to be putting out about 850 horsepower. They're also saying this could be the last internal combustion engine that Corvette has, because they're saying the Zora model is set to be a hypercar with an all-wheel drive hybrid system. Now the one thing I will say is that the test mule pictures that we have, although the wheels are covered up, you can see a little bit through that center hole there, they don't seem to match the design of the Z06. Whether it be the carbon fiber 5-spoke design or the multi-spoke design on the base model, it just doesn't seem to match up. So this tells me that it's a completely different model, and it could possibly confirm a ZR1. Now, again, this is all based on Muscle Car and Trucks, who have been very reliable in past information, and they're claiming a, quote, bulletproof source. So although this isn't confirmed by GM, I'm leaning more towards believing this than not. And with that being said, and all this does happen to end up being true, we're going to be getting an 850 horsepower rear wheel drive ZR1 in the future. Of course, this is probably 2-3 years down the road before it's introduced. But again, when are people actually going to get these cars? I mean, we still have a long list of people waiting for their 2020 C8 base model Corvettes, let alone the Z06 that's come out, or even the E-Ray that was just now teased on the video. Chevy is doing an awful lot of introducing new C8 models, but not a lot of delivering them. We know that the plant has gone through multiple shutdowns, parts are very scarce, and people are getting very frustrated with their orders. Now, there are quite a few on the road. I'm seeing more and more and more lately. My neighbor across the street actually just took delivery of his last summer, so that's kind of exciting. And I've seen probably 3 or 4 going down the highway. So they are obviously getting out, but there's still, like I said, a very long list of people waiting to get their hands on it. But now that Chevy is introducing all these new models, the Z06, the E-Ray, we're possibly finding out that the ZR1 is being tested. Is it going to make these people who have put an order in for the base model cancel those orders and put a down payment on something like this? But I want to know what your thoughts are down below on everything here on the ZR1, what Muscle Car and Trucks had to say, which again, I'm more prone to believe because they've never let us down with the information yet. But I'll leave that up to you. Do me a favor, drop a like on the video for me. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'm Kevin, and I'll see you in the next upload.